Hey, Guru Nation, welcome to another episode. We've been filming like nonstop. We've been doing the Guru Nation meetups every day during quarantine. Ashley's a regular member. We've actually grown that group so big, Skype won't let us do it anymore, so we're switching it to our other platform, which hopefully will be fine for another week. And then maybe we have to go to Zoom. I'm trying not to go to Zoom. I'm trying to
Yeah.
do this without Zoom because we already have another platform we pay for. So,
hmm
anyways, this episode's not about that, but it's about, personal branding. Ashley has a great story. She's from Austin. Many of you have seen the videos with her in person when I went to Austin at our Airbnb. And then also Ashley's guest lecture on the CRA Academy, which, by the way, was fantastic. People loved that. Did you see the views on that thing? Like the
Oh yeah.
views, thumbs up, people reaching out to you. How many people are reaching out to you because of that?
I can honestly say probably over more than 50 already. And I actually had about 10 submissions of resumes already. I had one today too, actually, which is a really interesting
So
one.
they're
That
sending
I
you their CV
Yeah.
and you're just doing it for them.
Well, I'm definitely I'll look at it real quick and I'll if I can see that they haven't utilized the things that I said on the video, I'll tell them go back, relook at the
Yes.
video, do those notes, and then come back and I'm happy to go over it with you.
Really? You're very
Mhm.
generous. You're like Mother Teresa. What?
Thank you.
Ashley is a saint. What's going? There's people that made businesses out of this, out of reviewing people's CVs and charging them. I've never done that. It's part of our CRA Academy for free, but there's people
Yeah.
that do this.
Yes, I mean I am aware of that. I mean, like I told you in the other video, I was very fortunate that I was helped with Next Job, which was offered from my previous employer for free, and it was such a huge help. And not just that, but even prior to that, I was very fortunate to come across a lot of mentors that were in the HR business and things like that. So I feel that given I would say the opportunities that I had coming up in my workforce experience, I feel like it's only fair to kind of just help people, because I got my help for free. So I will do what I can, of course. I'm not going to overextend myself because I have things that I'm doing, but definitely am free to help. Mhm.
Very nice of you. Again, we'll have her LinkedIn in the show notes. If anyone wants to watch that video of Ashley's CRA bonus session, it's on YouTube. She put her phone number in there. We won't do that this time.
By accident.
By accident, but we left
Yes,
it.
okay. Yeah, it's okay. You can email me though. You can email me.
Email her. If you call her, she's going to charge you for the CV
Yes,
review. If you
yes,
go
this
on
is
LinkedIn, she will do it, because she's a nice person. So, thank you, Ashley, for that. So, let's talk a little bit about, because we're going to get into personal branding, and what you mean by that is a little bit different than what I mean by that, but they're kind of the same thing. Like, both roads lead to the same place. Okay, so you're more from a technical perspective, like how to increase your visibility on LinkedIn, how your resume, which you spent an hour talking to our CRA Academy students, can be better found and searched by algorithms. Okay, so
Mhm,
that's personal branding. Mine is more along the lines of letting people know who you are. Like
mhm,
the hardest thing to do in business, and by the way, if you are a job seeker, you're in business for yourself. The hardest part is to get people to know you exist.
mhm,
This is like the main problem. And everything after that's easy. It's just really getting people to discover you. So both of our methods are important. Both of our
mhm.
methods lead to the same place, which is you getting discovered, people knowing about you. Okay, whether you're a
Yeah.
business or whether you are a job seeker. In this video, we're going to talk more about the job seekers, but this applies for business owners also. This applies for businesses too. You don't have a resume as a business, but you've got
Mhm.
a website. You should have a LinkedIn profile. You, as the figurehead, whoever it is, needs to have all this stuff too. So this will be relevant for everybody. But Ashley, just for the people that don't know who you are yet,
Mhm.
um, why don't you tell them who you are and like what you're doing right now? Because we're gonna get into your career next too, which is very interesting. So let's give them
Okay.
a brief intro.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Ashley Madigal. I'm a clinical data specialist with the Texas Health Department, Texas State Health Department, excuse me, the infectious disease. So, definitely right now, the department I'm in is very busy, of course, with the whole Corona situation. Um, but yeah, that's I typically on a regular day, not Corona day, I am working on hepatitis C surveillance with clinical data laboratory reports. And but right now, actually, I am with the State Medical Operations Center with the on the Corona response. So right now I'm in the thick of it. So that's
Mm.
pretty much what's happening right now.
Yeah, like in the thick of things. What are just for the people watching? Like, what are they telling you about opening up the economy again? We're gonna talk about this potential second wave
Mhm.
later because they're saying this is seasonal, so it's gonna go southern hemisphere for our summer, and then it's gonna
Uh-huh.
potentially come back. They're predicting it will come back
Mhm.
in the fall, winter for us. Now, hopefully, we have better treatments or a vaccine by then. I think our system will be more prepared. But
Yeah.
what are they telling you? Because I don't know anything other than what I see on Twitter. You actually work for the state.
Yes. Well, I mean, as far as the state's concerned, it's obviously based off of our state of Texas. Unfortunately, with management, it's almost the same thing as everybody else. It's a management information trickle down, So, what I know as of right now with the state of Texas, more than likely, right now we're in the band. Our band date is supposed to be lifted as of next week. I mean, obviously, Texas is still increasing, so that's more than likely going to get extended. And nothing has been said, but I mean, from my own personal opinion, that's what I feel is going to happen. Because of, the state of everything, they're obviously not sharing so much information because they're waiting for the higher ups, more federal and CDC. So there's not as much as really that I could share with you in that sense because I'm very much in the same sphere as you. But I do know that hopefully, given the good news for New York, right, they've kind of had a handle on the curve, thankfully. So if we can utilize the same tactics that they're doing over there in New York, hopefully, eventually, most of the other states will also begin to curve and yield the curve. So um, I would say maybe up to June, late May, June, the things are going to start really looking much better. But for now, it's really kind of up in the air, to be honest.
That's what I think too. Right now, we're recording this April 9th. I'm expecting to quarantine till at least May 9th. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, go to the grocery store and all that. But I'm giving it like maybe even till early June. And I'm in a
Yeah.
weird place. We're in California. We got shut down first. Like, other than Washington, this was the first state, to have cases. So, and
Mm-hmm.
then it went to New York. So it's weird because they're telling us that our peak is not. You see, and this is what I don't like about this because all the headlines, people are just writing for headlines. They're now
Yes.
saying California peak will not be until early May, which is that's what happens when you flatten a curve. The
Yeah.
peak gets moved forward. But the thing is,
Yeah.
it's not as bad as the peak in New York right now. So,
Yeah.
these things can get manipulated. But anyways, forget about coronavirus. I'm sick of it. Let's talk about
Yeah.
personal branding. At the end, we're going to talk about you actually have a concern because you want to be a CRA. You've done
Mhm.
really well, you know,
Thank you.
with interviews and everything but getting the job offer because of coronavirus.
Yes.
Right? Like in normal times you would have been hired already like twice. But
Right away.
the fact that this CRO is following up with you
Hmm.
and telling you, "Hey, Ashley, please consider us. we're on hold right now, but please consider us. Like, what are they telling you?
They're pretty much that. They're apologizing for the situation and they're apologizing for the stall in the hiring process or interviewing process, but that they really hope that come a few weeks from now, as they are planning, that I would still consider them in the running. So, I mean, that was pretty interesting because the way that the wording is, it's typically the other way around that I would want to be considered in the running. But seeing those kinds of emails definitely give me a good boost. And my ego was a good boost. So,
So
for sure.
how are you building your personal brand? You've come on as a guest lecturer on the CRA Academy teaching people how to get found on LinkedIn and how to make their resumes better. But what are you doing personally right now, and what can other people emulate from what you're doing?
Well, it's a few things really. I would say first off, as when I met you right in person, I told you that I think what would be different from my story as to most people will have a lot or a few years of clinical research background. I only have two. I do have a total of 10 clinical industry backgrounds. So that's the positive. Um, but when I started realizing that, like, okay, you know what? I want to go back. This is my career path. This is what I want to officially choose after having had a full 180 on, I think, the whole public health sector. Um, I started researching, and that's actually how I found you. So I found you on
That's right.
YouTube.
Personal branding.
Yes, yes. Really, yeah. You actually have a perfect example. I was wanting to use you as an example because, when I Googled you, you're that's all that popped up. You were literally like the full first page, and I was just like, this guy obviously knows what he's doing because if he's on the full first page, then he is everywhere. So I looked at your blog, and then I looked at your videos, and then I saw that you had an Instagram. So I followed you on Instagram, and then instantly I added that phone number that you provide to give questions, and you were giving out a free book. So I put my name in for the book. All this happened within, I think, 2 weeks.
You get
Okay.
the free book?
Yes, I got the free book.
That's right. That's right. I keep forgetting. That's right.
I got the free book, and within that month, I finished the book. I watched all your videos, and then I was like, okay, well, this is what I have to do. So I went on LinkedIn and I input all my information, and I immediately started adding all the organizations I wanted to be considered by. And then through each organization, and as I mentioned in your previous video with you, I went into their section. There's a section in each of the organizations on LinkedIn that you can go in and search by state. So obviously, I focused on Texas, and I also focused on Colorado because I'm, interested in moving to Colorado if
Really?
possible.
I didn't know this.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
maybe you mentioned it to me.
yeah. I think I did. Maybe I'm not so sure, but so I
Really? You
looked at
guys are
it.
thinking like for real, like Colorado. You like it better than Austin?
It's beautiful. I mean, Austin is great. Austin is really great, but Austin is also more. It has the good mix of like hometown and big city, but we love the outdoors. And Alejandro, he's
Mm,
a mountain biker, so
yes.
sitting there in Colorado, and so Colorado's kind of like,
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Now I remember you mentioning that when we met. That's crazy because
yeah.
I've been to both. I mean, I prefer Austin, but hey, I
Really?
get it. You're more outdoorsy.
Yeah, I love the outdoors. So, and so does Alex. So,
Yes.
but so I started searching for Colorado and Texas, and I went on and added each section that showed recruiters. So I added all the recruiters, and then I added the some CRAs. And so I wanted to do a good balance. And the reason why I did that was also because, and it came true. I had a feeling that if I had the same recruiters and the same CRAs from the same organization, that would be a starting talking point. And so it did actually. Some of the recruiters reached out to me and said, "Hey, I saw that some of my coworkers had you, and I just wanted to see if I could have your resume and see what you're all about." And so that was a starting talking point. So that
Hmm.
was a really
So
great.
what was the strategy to make that happen? What did you do?
Well, like I said, I went on because some of these recruiters in the same company, they're competing with each other.
Right.
So thinking on their viewpoint, they want to have everybody that the other person has. So I was adding all of them, and whenever you see somebody's profile, you can actually see who they're connected with from your specific list. So I guess they saw that some of their coworkers had me, and so they naturally just started to make a conversation. So it wasn't even me reaching out to them directly. Sometimes it was always just about, I saw that a lot of contacts had you. I wanted to get to know you a little bit. So that was a really good main point. Another one was I whenever I am on my feed, right? I think a lot of people make this mistake where they utilize LinkedIn kind of like Facebook, they're just, sharing and liking a bunch of stuff that's not kind of directly pertaining to their speed of industry, which is fine, but for me, I wanted to make sure, like, I wanted to get this moving as fast as I could. So you want to maximize huge output, you need to put in good, great quality. And so that means honing and focusing in on what it is that you want solely. And so that's what I did. I added you. I started sharing a lot of your posts. I started sharing up
Mm.
these organization posts. I started watching the comments and looking at the specialists that would respond. I would go and reach out, create a conversation, and just like, I call it like webbing out, or just kind of like finding little pinpoints and then reaching out that way.
That is smart. So basically, treating social media like a cocktail party, which is the
Yes.
analogy I always say. You ever been to a party and you know, like people are just having conversations. They're in different circles. Like you got this group there, over there. There's more. It's not like somebody's presenting and everybody's looking. There's a party, so somebody's talking there, somebody's there. There's always a group of people. Some people are by themselves, and then so imagine if you were somebody just walked into this party and started going to every circle and saying, "Hey, my name is Dan. Here's my business card. Let me know how I can help you." And not even like so interrupting what they're saying and then leaving before they even say
Yeah.
anything else and going to the next one and doing the same thing and then going to every single group and doing that. Nobody's gonna pay attention to you. They would kick you out. They would think you're a lunatic in real life. But people do this on LinkedIn every single day.
Yeah,
It's I don't
exactly.
understand how people don't see it's the same thing. Just because you can leave without walking, like, you get out of someone's inbox and go to someone else's. I mean, you need to actually put some time into, like, go in that circle, in that group, talk, listen first, then talk. And then maybe people are going to say, "Hey, what do you do, Dan?" "Oh, okay, well, here's my card. Thanks for asking." That's what it takes. Same thing in LinkedIn. It just, of course, nobody wants to hear this, Ashley, because it takes effort.
Yes, exactly. And I'm a huge believer and proponent of, as I told you, quality, always quality over quantity. And it's if you want to make an impression, you got to be personable. And so, for instance, one thing that I do for sure is that every person that adds me, I instantly send them a message with the approval. And I say, thank you. How are you doing? What's going on? Especially right now with coronavirus. I always say, how is it in your area? Are you okay?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not asking about, how can I, connect with you with business? Like, I don't ask that. And if anything, if they want to bring that up, I let them bring it up. Because right now, obviously, I'm kind of focused on what I want. So I'm not here necessarily just to take. There has to be a balance. At least what I feel. So if I always try to look at it as how do I feel if somebody were to come to me like that? I don't necessarily like it when somebody is right off the bat clearly trying to utilize me for something. I want to know that the
You
person's
don't?
being.
What's wrong with
Yeah.
you?
I no, like in a sense of like, hey, can you help me right away? It's like, well, say hi, how's it going? Make conversation. Little pitch, yeah, how they call it, a little elevator pitch. Try to
As
start a gym. Like for instance, in one of the interviews I had. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, as you're talking, so tell your story, tell this, because as you're talking, I'm pulling up my LinkedIn,
Okay.
and I'm gonna go through just a random, this is unplanned, okay? I'm gonna
Mhm.
go through my inbox, and I'm gonna read you what people are telling me, and we're gonna see, um, who's spamming and who's not, because it's pretty funny if I do this, but go
Yeah.
ahead.
So what I was saying is, in one of my interviews, it was starting off very typical, very basic, and very, I say robotic, because it's the same stuff that the interviewer has to go through. And obviously, this was over the phone, and she was at home, and her dog starts barking, and you could tell that she got a little startled. She wasn't expecting her dog to bark, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for that. I'm so sorry. No, you're perfectly fine. I have a dog too, so if he barks, we're okay. We'll let them talk for a little bit if you want." And she started laughing, and she's from Austin, and Austinites are known for their dogs. And I was just like, it's okay. We're from Austin. It's all right. It's allowed. And I just had her laughing for at least 5 to 10 minutes about these little spits of jokes that I was making, and automatically it changed the tone and the character of the interview to more of a friendship,
Was this for a CRA interview or what?
Yes, Sierra interview. Yes. And that also allowed that beginning allowed me to also kind of make little snippets and jokes throughout the interview. And I had her laughing through the whole interview. And it went on for I think 30 minutes more than it was expected to, because she was actually starting to ask me more personal questions. So it was a really good feedback. And I think that if you can make things more personable, that you can go an extremely long way, as opposed to somebody that is just there to kind of just make an image, intentionally. But I'm here with a purpose, and I also want to make sure that I have some relatableness to whoever it is that's interviewing me or who I'm talking to, you know?
Was this the interview where that this is the big CRO that says, "Hey, sorry for all those delays with coronavirus."
Yes,
Okay, so
yes,
this is good. This is a very good sign. And the
yes,
fact that they're following up with you means by the time this is over, you'll be a CRA, which is your goal. So
yes.
congrats ahead of time, even though we don't want to make assumptions. And we're going to get back to, because you're in a dilemma, okay, and a very reasonable one, very logical dilemma you have, because you're in a very stable job right now,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to talk about, jumping off that stable job to pursue your dream in the midst of coronavirus. You
Yeah,
know, I don't even know the answer. I have to think of it. But
yeah.
back to personal branding. So, how did you get that interview with this person?
With that person. Okay. So it was pretty much the same thing as I had told you for that. It was this was actually one of the recruiters that had mentioned to me, like, oh, I saw that other people that I know are contacting you, that have you on their list. Can you shoot me your resume? And I very much like your LinkedIn. Can I see your resume? And so I submitted it via email. And so we had a quick call. It was more of a screening. And this was actually a screening before an actual screening, which was kind of weird. I had never experienced that before. But she wanted to get some insight on why my resume didn't have everything that my LinkedIn had. And I actually explained to her, how my resume is just kind of more of a snippet of just the more important things, and that my LinkedIn is kind of a more full basis of, what you get, the full package. So, but we went through my LinkedIn, and she told me she really loved my personal statement that I have, which is part of the personal branding. And she really liked how that, given, for her words, given I only had 2 years of clinical research experience, that my presence looked like I only had been doing clinical research, which was a really good compliment, and also pretty much confirmed that my personal branding that I had been displaying was working, because that's really what I was trying to do. And so, I mean, partially of what that is also, like I said, what you're posting, what you're liking. I only like and post things with the companies that I follow, like any type of clinical research, any biomedical technology advances, things like that. I'm not posting these, really cute dog posts, these videos that they have, even though I love them. I'm not
On LinkedIn, right?
on, on LinkedIn, yes, for sure. And of course, too, I mean, think about it, even if you are not already hired by the organization, some of these organizations will go the full mile and research your social media, especially if you do not have it on private.
Hmm.
And I think that the photo that you have displayed both on LinkedIn and your social media is a good representation of you and what you bring to the table. And I think a lot of people, don't really look at that as a whole. And because ultimately they're thinking in the future, if we do hire this person, yes, we like her personality, but ultimately she's bringing that so that we hire her. But how do we know that she's going to represent us well in the long run as a person, as a whole? And I think that that's where social media comes in, how you represent yourself. And, coming from the clinical industry background, it's very well known that if you are going to be an LVN, an MA, a nurse, a doctor, anything like that, they're very, well, at least where I'm from, they're very strict about your online presence, because you cannot misrepresent a clinical organization.
Hmm.
So definitely took that into account. And another thing, which I've seen, very common on LinkedIn, that the photos that people use, they're not very representing of what it is that they're geared towards. Like my photo, unfortunately, because of, the sizing of LinkedIn's availability in that little circle, my photo, I'm actually wearing a white lab coat and I'm, have my glasses on and I'm doing a full image of my face so that you see like, this is me. I'm wearing my lab coat. I'm into research. I'm into clinical. I'm kind of giving a representation of where it is that I'm going
Wow.
or what
So
I'm
you thought
looking
of
to.
every single detail. I mean, I'm looking
Yes,
at your
every
profile
detail.
now. And
Yes,
and
and
for
then
those
also
who want
the
to see it,
background
the
photo.
link will be in the show notes too for anyone that's curious.
Yeah. And then the background photo as well. I when I spoke with the specialist from Next Job, she was very adamant about me placing in a photo behind that background photo, the drop down, to make sure that it represented what it was, what I was geared towards, or what represented me. And for me, I mean, clinical, the DNA in the background, but also research, because I personally would like to get into a clinical research that is more, based either in cancer or neurology or cardiology, one of those three.
Mm.
So yeah, so I made sure that I had something similar to that in the background, and kind of gives you a little bit more. I say flavor. I mean, there's different words for different people, but for me, that just kind of gives you more pizzazz when they go into your profile. Because remember, these recruiters are going into so many of these profiles, looking
That's
so many of these
true.
resumes
That's
over and
true.
over. Yeah.
And I noticed, let me pull up your profile again.
Hmm.
Let me see. But I know, I just had a thought. Like, you would absolutely. So I talk a lot about creating content. I think you're very good at networking with LinkedIn
Hmm.
without necessarily creating like a ton of content.
Yeah.
Which is there's two ways to do it. Like not everybody needs to have a podcast and all this stuff, but it works. But so I'm looking at your activity. So you're sharing stuff. That's good. You're replying. You are replying to comments. So I had a thought. If you were
Hmm.
to do like a daily, especially you because you work in infectious disease right now, this is like everybody's interested, not just
Yeah.
like the nerds like usual.
Yeah.
Everybody's interested. No offense, but that's this is
No
the
offense taken.
entire
That's a
world.
compliment.
CNN, everybody's talking about this. Okay, so if you were to write or do a whatever you're comfortable with, not everybody wants to do video or audio, but if you were to
Yeah.
write like an article or do like a 5 minute video with an article about infectious disease, like something about coronavirus or something that because you're expert in this stuff, I
Hmm.
think that would get tons. And then to kind of link, if you can link it to clinical research, I mean, that would help with your brand a
Yeah,
lot. But
for
you don't need
sure.
the help. But I'm just using you as an example. If
Mhm.
somebody else were out there in your shoes, like similar shoes, like
Yeah.
everybody's expert at something. Okay, so
Yeah.
you just want to find your angle when it comes to clinical research, even if you don't have the experience. Let's say you're a nurse and you're working in cardiology. You have no research experience, but you want to be a CRA. Start making videos or writing articles on LinkedIn about cardiology, and then
Mhm.
look at clinicaltrials.gov or Google Scholar for study results and give your expert opinion on what it is, what happened in that study, like what's going on. People are going to see this. People are interested in clinical research on LinkedIn. The people who are interested in that are going to come to you as a resource, and then guess what? Now you have a contact, and now you can reach out to them. So that's in a nutshell. That's like personal branding from my perspective. But you do,
Mhm.
and there's no right or wrong. You do a great job of replying, and then I think I do pretty good at like creating the content. So, but
Yeah,
like the real thing, like the magic is like to combine those two things, right?
yeah,
Like I don't reply. I'm too lazy. Like I just reply to like I barely reply to my comments like on my stuff. Like I'm not gonna go out and reply to other people's stuff unless I like see something very interesting and I actually wanna comment. But it's rare. It doesn't happen like not even once a month. But you do
yeah,
a great job of that. But like to combine those two things, I think is magic. I think is
yeah,
magic.
for sure. And like I said, I wanted to, touch base on your type of personal branding because also people don't realize too that sometimes if, for instance, you, Dan, I mean, I know you have your business and everything, but say you wanted to go and work for whatever reason for another company, the fact that you have so much following, and also the fact that you have so much stance on like Google, for instance, you know, to get to that point with Google, you have to not only be on multiple social media web pages and sites, right? But you have to be very active on all of them, which you do a great job of doing, obviously, because you're always posting your content everywhere. Um, but because of that, if you have that kind of following and that kind of, I guess you could say, stance, you're also that much more valuable to these organizations because you're representing them. That there's a opportunity for job growth with them to represent them even on that stance. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of points of negotiation, building, climbing, and definitely there's so many points in that,
Great
for
point.
sure.
Great
Yeah.
point. Building a brand, I relate it to, I talked about this on my Patreon channel yesterday, which is great.
Mhm.
Everybody, if you want to learn how to build your personal brand, go on there. You can learn from Ashley too, but it doesn't hurt. $5 a month, what is that?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with $5 a month now? Nothing, right? You can't even leave the house. So, um, I equate branding to like, and I get this from Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's right. He says, Nike never. So Nike, the shoe company, this swoosh that I have right here, okay, they never message you to go buy their stuff
Hmm.
ever. Okay, you ever get a DM from Nike? I never did, or anybody from Nike, right? But what do they
Yeah.
do? They build their brand. Like this thing is ingrained in our brains.
Yeah.
And I don't even care about Nike. I just bought this because of the college. But like
Yeah.
their brand is there. Like there's diehard fans that say, I need the latest shoes. They're not messaging those people saying go buy the
Yeah.
shoes. They'll have TV ads because they have budgets, but they're not really telling you to go buy the shoe. They're telling a story, if you notice. Same thing with
Yeah.
McDonald's. They never tell you to go buy a cheeseburger. I mean, never. You ever get a DM from McDonald's, come buy a cheeseburger? Never.
No.
They hope that their brand is ingrained that when you go outside and you're hungry, you're gonna consider McDonald's. And
Hmm.
so, same thing with this stuff. Like a job seeker, and then once you get your job, building your career, it's all about brand. You want people to think, okay, I need help with clinical research. I need to contact Dan. Like that's brand, right? Or like, I need somebody to be a CRA for this particular thing. This Ashley girl, I see her everywhere on LinkedIn commenting on people's stuff. I'm gonna give
Hmm.
her like a call. That's personal branding, right?
Hmm. And it's funny because people also think that, oh, oh, I don't know how to do it, or I don't have any following, like how am I going to do this? Like I literally just started mid-December, and I'm already here talking with you, which some would say you have a good massive following on clinical research, the industry, right? And I'm already here doing my third video with you, and I've already gotten I don't know how much following, and it's barely April. You know what I mean? So all it took was for me just to Google a few things, read and watch a few things, take the time to reach out to you, and bam, this is where I'm at. I mean, things really can happen. It just comes down to the hard work you're willing to put in, the time, and really what you're willing to give. A lot of people are so focused on, what can you give me? What can you give me? What can you give me? Like, this is what I need. I'm looking for this. And it's like, okay, yes, but
Yeah,
what can you offer? What do you offer? What do you bring? What can you do that's going to ingrain you with somebody else? And that's what I said, for me, I'm going to be 30, and I barely learn this lesson not even about a year ago. For me, the whole time really was what can I do to, get further? What can people give me? Where can I find all this free stuff or whatever? And it's like, no, you have to give, you have to serve, just like these companies are serving people, patients, what do you bring to the company that they can provide to other people,
that's
And
right.
and I and I barely, not too long ago realized that. And ever since I started utilizing that, um, it's just I've blown up. Everything's just gone really well for me. And I think once people start grasping that, because really what we're all here for in the end of the day is to serve, have purpose.
That's
At
right.
least that's my opinion. So yeah, definitely for sure serving.
Yes, and as we're gonna switch to now your career dilemma, but I just wanted to add. So what you
Mhm.
said, I know because I mean, I live it. But like, you're so right. Everybody, I think, has, some earlier in life, some much later in life,
Mhm.
some never get this
Yeah,
get this realization that, like, hey, the more I give, it's not just a cliche. Because I used to think that too. Like when I was in my
yeah,
20s, I used to think, oh, like, of course it's nice to give, but like, I'm really like, no one's gonna take care of me unless I ask for what I need. Like, and
yeah.
then, so that's natural. That's natural tendency. It wasn't until I was 29, 30, so your age, 10 years ago, when I started the YouTube channel, right? And I read the book Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk, and I was like, this guy is right. Like, all this stuff, like, you need to give value first. Who cares how that's going to benefit you? I mean, making all these YouTube videos, like, the first 6 months was like, why am I doing this? Nobody's watching, but
Mhm.
if it just it builds up, and it's the same thing with LinkedIn, whatever it is, it's giving value first, and then
Yeah.
people are naturally going to want to reciprocate, right? Like, it's one of the we always talk about books, Ashley. It's a really good book called Influence is
Mhm.
another one. I know I keep
That's a
giving
good
you
book.
books. Oh, you read that
That's a
one,
good
right?
book. Yes,
So
yes.
reciprocity, people are like, if
Hmm.
you keep helping, they're gonna be like, all right, what does this guy do? Okay, let me see if I can help you. It's just natural, ingrained in people, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's also for instance, at one point, a perfect example right now. I was looking for, masks, right, because of coronavirus, and it just so happens that the vendor asked me what it is that I do for my work. Random conversation. And so I told him what I do. He was very grateful, and he said, can I give you 20 N95 masks? Can you donate that to somebody? And I was just like, well, yes, of course, anything I can do to help. So it's just, you give and you take, and it's just this really beautiful, what I call like a beautiful dance, and it just kind of works out for everybody. So for instance, if I were to be doing my start of videos, I might help somebody that has a really good position. It just so happens that that one thing they just weren't good at. And they were so grateful that it was for free, they just reach out to me and there's a connection, and later he helps me or she helps me, and it just works
Exactly.
out that way,
And I
like
think
it's
I think you would kill it with videos on LinkedIn. First of all, LinkedIn algorithm favors videos organically. If you upload a
yeah,
video on LinkedIn, I've done the test. I mean, and I'm no like data nerd, but I've seen. I write an article, I post it on LinkedIn. Maybe they show it to like a small percentage of my followers, and I'll get some engagement. When I do a video, same topic, okay,
yeah.
like 10 times the amount of engagement. So the algorithm favors video right now, and
Hmm.
so I think you would kill it with that. But and anyone else watching, I think the same thing to you. um, Now you have a dilemma, okay,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I have an answer, but why don't you explain your dilemma?
Okay. So, as you mentioned, right, a CRO reached out to me. And it's not just them. I have two others. So it's very adamant that, come the end of this Corona lockdown, I will probably have a very good opportunity. correct, for a job with the CRO as a
Hmm.
CRA, and which is great because that's what I've been gearing towards. But given the fact of all this talk, and which is very plausible because given my current industry of work, that we will have a second wave of coronavirus. My concern is that coming in as a newbie CRA, obviously, I don't have a veteran stance with the CRO. So, do I want to place myself in a situation where I jump, you know, headfirst into a new opportunity, as most should, because you should always go in for opportunity when you can get it. At least that's what I think. Um, and hope that, if there were to be another situation where there are more layoffs or furloughs, I'd be in that situation. For me, that's a bit daunting because, I mean, I'm an infectious disease right now. You don't get any more secure than infectious disease position at this
During
moment.
a pandemic.
During a pandemic, yes, so, and obviously I don't want to prolong my wait. I mean, if I did, I mean, of course, I'd be working towards, bettering myself with getting certs and courses like I've already told you I'm doing, which would just be building myself more and more, of course. But I mean, I would just like to get my feet wet as soon as possible. And I'm just concerned about this, obviously, because both jobs hold a lot of prestige in their own sense, and
Yeah.
you know, that's kind of my situation.
It's a very tough situation. Everybody is going to have a different a different right answer. I guess there is no right answer, but like you're 29. Okay, so you're relatively young. I don't know much about your financial situation, but I don't think you're struggling, right?
No, not at all.
So, if like the advice, okay, so let's go most conservative advice. The most
Yeah,
conservative advice would be stay where you are until this is over, like the vaccine comes out, right?
yeah,
And you'll be 30 and you'll start your CRA career, right?
yeah,
Now, you really want to do CRA, right? Like
yeah.
you don't really want to do what you're doing right now.
I mean, I enjoy what I'm doing, but I would love the fact more to be more involved with, you know, innovative research for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it is pretty innovative right now, but this is only the fact that I am currently in the corona pandemic, and I'll go back to hepatitis C, and it won't be as hands-on direct as it would be with
Yes.
CRA.
And I know you. I know a little bit about your personal situation. Like, you don't have kids.
Mm-mm.
You have a fiance who also works. You guys don't have a lot of expenses. Like, so if I would be like, if you were a single mom raising three kids, I would definitely say don't quit right now.
Yeah.
Wait till next year. But for you, I'm leaning towards yes, quitting
Mm-hmm.
and jumping on this, because second wave, okay, that that may happen. So, do you know what kind of indication you're going to be doing when you monitor?
No, no, no. I mean, for neither one of them, I did ask all three, and they were like, well, we'll give you, they were just kind of wanting to hold off until they knew that I would go further down the
Because with
interview.
your background, like I know these CROs, we're not going to mention it, but they're doing. I mean, all the big CROs are doing coronavirus studies. It wouldn't make sense for them to put you on that. You have that background already.
Well, yeah, the thing is, when I did these interviews, I wasn't in the emergency response for COVID-19. Now that I am, I'm pretty sure they're probably going to reevaluate me,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
yes,
So second wave can actually work in your favor because there'd
I
be
actually
more
didn't think about
coronavirus
that.
studies. Yeah. Um, so I think, second wave actually for coronavirus sites and for CRAs, I mean, you'd be
Mhm.
doing more virtual. And yeah, it's true, you're not senior. You're not a senior CRA, but it's harder to find someone with a therapeutic expertise than it is
Mhm.
to train someone on how to be a CRA.
True.
Uh, so if I were you, I
Probably,
would do it.
so probably email them with my new updated resume.
Exactly, and you should be
Yeah.
following up anyways. I know they've been following up with you, but you should
Mhm.
also follow up with them once a week and say, hey, by the way, thank you for reaching out, or maybe reply next time they email you. Thank you for reaching out and your concern. Just to let you know, I've currently been placed on the COVID, whatever it is you're doing, and then tell them, but I am still eagerly waiting to get started for you with you guys. Because
Okay.
and send your updated CV, like with your new job
Yeah.
title and all that. Because I think for you, you're in a good situation with that, even if a second wave happens. And who knows? I doubt the second wave is gonna be as bad as this one. And you know
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I mean, people are dying. It's horrible. Every death matters. It's not
Yeah.
as bad as they said it was gonna be, right? Even the
Yes.
first
No,
wave, and
definitely
we're not
not.
even prepared. So
Mhm.
for you, I would say uh, do it. For somebody else, like I said, sole breadwinner in the family, probably not do it. Definitely not do it.
Mhm.
But for you, yes. But again, everyone's situation's different. Some people
Yeah.
are needing that extra income for CRA. CRAs pay well, I don't know what
Yeah.
you're getting at your current salary, but you're probably gonna get more with the CRA, right? So some
Yeah.
people need that difference, like they need it right now. For
Mhm.
you, you don't. Um,
Merely have the interest of wanting to advance myself,
There you go.
not so much
So
for the
I
income.
I
Yeah.
would just do I would do it if I were you.
Yeah, for sure, And I think hitting this topic, maybe something you might want to talk about is like the fact of how in general, like personal branding in itself is so important now. This morning, I don't know about if you saw it, but I woke up to an article that now we're at a 16.8 million unemployment.
Unemployed, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I was
they extended that to self-employed now too.
the
So
self-employed, really?
yeah, and I have like different businesses. So like I was thinking, okay, what about unemployment for one of my businesses? Because as long as you're not getting a W-2, you qualify. Like they're just giving
Yeah,
out money to people. It's crazy.
yeah,
And let's not even get into those SBA things, which I don't think
yeah,
anyone's gonna see anytime soon.
yeah.
Um, But yeah, so I mean, what a great podcast. What a great episode, Ashley. Personal brand. I really think you would kill it with just like a 2 minute video. Hey guys, today I went to, I don't know what you did. Today I went to work and this is what happened. This is what we're talking about. I mean, obviously you can't give like confidential information, but this
Yeah,
is this is what this is what I think is going on. Okay, and again, thoughts are mine, not my employer's. This is what I think are going on. People are gonna watch that, and you're
yeah,
gonna just skyrocket, and then find a way to tie it into research. And because of all this that's going on, here's the studies that are going out. These are some of the results. These are some of the inclusion exclusion criteria. I mean, Ashley, you would kill it.
good.
You would kill it. You don't need any more Coursera courses. You need a phone with a camera and a post.
A better camera.
And you don't even need a better camera. People are not picky right now. They're at home watching people play
Boy.
video games on ESPN. I'm watching. I miss sports so much. I'm watching players play NBA 2K on TV. Like this is what I'm
Wow.
watching on ESPN.
Yeah, I have a on-hand epidemiologist. I can just interview them.
Ah, yes, you definitely need
Dan
to.
is like, oh, that's so great.
You definitely need to, and no one's gonna hire you right now, at least for the next month. So you have a
Yeah,
month to build your brand, uh, to maybe even get more job offers by the time this is over.
yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for that. That's a good thing to sit on for sure, really.
No, don't sit. Act.
Act on that. Act.
Don't
Okay, yes,
sit on it. Just do
act
it.
for sure.
Just do
Thank
it.
you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Ashley, very much. Link to Ashley's LinkedIn is in the show notes. She also has a entire lecture on this. You want people to follow you on Instagram?
Might as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put that too. We'll put that too. And thank you, Ashley, very much. Thank you,
You're
everybody, for
welcome.
watching and listening, and we'll catch you all later. Bye bye.